Hey thinkers, this is a picture of a grenade. This is the inside of a grenade, and this is what a grenade does. Just kidding. It does that. Slightly more disappointing, but still very deadly.
Yeah.
To first look into how explosions work, we need to look at why they work. The reason they work is because they are very good at trapping energy. I'm talking about the bombs that can be used, or anything, a cannon, any explosive, even guns. The bullets are actually bombs. They're literally bombs. There's a bomb in every single car, the engine. It has explosions like 20 times per second depending on your speed. So the thing that's happening is you're trapping energy, like you saw in this picture. You can see there's a burst of energy. All the sand is being kicked up, it's being thrown up in the air. Looking at it over on the screen, it's been throwing over the air, and most explosions, the problem with them isn't that they are explosions like this one. This can be deadly because of radiation and because of the shockwave that it produces, not because of the explosion itself. 90% of the deaths happen because of the shockwave and not because of the fire. The fire is comes with it. It just comes with the package of explosives. This is the inside of a grenade. You can see how the inside of a grenade has a waffle-shaped pattern, and it has not the inside of the grenade. The outside of the grenade has a waffle-shaped pattern like this. Camera focus. Okay, so the inside, like this, it has a waffle-shaped pattern. The reason for this is those are weak points. Those cuts and grooves act as weak points for the explosion. The explosion itself is not what does damage. It's actually those weak points. So you'll have around 16 tiny little squares acting as projectiles blowing away super fast. They will explode in every single direction, and that's the point of a grenade, to act like a mini not a minigun, but a mini gun. Basically, it sits on the floor and sends a bunch of projectiles. You can see the inside of the grenade. It has a wire. So when you pull the pin, you're actually releasing the latch, and this you're actually releasing the latch. You can see it's called a striker. It comes down and strikes the point, and that wire right there is actually a fuse. That's the fuse. And that fuse, when the striker hits, it actually creates a spark, which ignites that fuse, and that's actually an exactly 5-second fuse, and the fuse will run up into the gunpowder itself, and that's where the explosion happens. To better explain an explosion, let's take a simpler design. Here's a picture of a cannon, the inside of a cannon. What's happening with gunpowder in here is when you light the fuse, you're actually setting off this ticking timer, an ancient ticking timer. So it would burn when it hits the fuse, it ignites the gunpowder. Gunpowder has a lot of trapped energy inside, just like coal. When you burn it, that energy is released as heat. In this case, it is released as heat, but that also comes with a lot of gases that expand. As you know, gases make things expand, hot air rises, all of that. So that's why it's called a hot air balloon. But so the gases will expand, and then they'll find any weak points. Any weak point, and it will combust. It will just shatter. It will rip apart, and these things go flying everywhere. Hence the waffle pattern in grenades. The thing with cannons, a more simpler design, as I said before, it has a fuse, it ignites the gunpowder, and then you have a cannonball in the front. What that cannonball is doing is what the waffle pattern is doing. It's acting as a weak point. The thick layer of iron around the edges is extremely hard to get through. On the other side, it's possible for it to come out through the hole that the fire came in, the fuse. It could come out, but because of the amount of gases that are expanding, and at the rate that they are expanding, they could come out through this tiny hole. But it's much easier to push like 100-pound cannonball out of the way because the hole is so small. It shoves the ball with immense force out, and all that energy is converted, and that also creates a shockwave which kicks the cannon backwards. Isaac Newton's law of motion: every action has an equal and opposite reaction, which is why when a grenade explodes, the waffle pattern, the little squares go out. That's why when you fire a gun or an assault rifle, you will get a kick in your shoulder and you'll get kicked back, which is why if you fire a cannon, the cannon will kick back because of this crazy amount of force. So basically, explosions can happen. There are different types of explosions, but there are some shockwave explosions, there are some fire explosions. You can have an atomic bomb, you can have a grenade, you can just have an electronic bomb, you can have a rocket motor, like a rocket engine, you can have a jet engine, you can have a car engines. Explosions are everywhere, whether you see them or not. They're either extremely big, fast, or very powerful. They come in a different variety. You can create an explosion in your mouth, but it's so small that the only effect it has is it creates a sound, which is what you constantly do. Not constantly. Well, if you click your tongue, like, you're creating an explosion. You're creating a low pressure zone and a high pressure zone. And that's the second part of this topic. Low and high pressures. If a zone has a high pressure, it will automatically gravitate toward the lower pressure. Which is why if you have a spacesuit and there's a hole in it, there's a lot of high pressure in your spacesuit. Even though if it's not completely filled, space is almost a perfect vacuum. So you're still gonna find some there's a huge difference between your spacesuit and outer space, the vacuum in outer space. So what you're essentially doing is you have this high pressure zone and this low pressure zone. High pressure things will gravitate toward low pressure zones because high things like to spread out. It's called entropy. Things like to spread out, atoms like to spread out, stuff likes to spread out. Which is exactly what grenades or any bomb is doing. Grenades are creating an extremely high pressure zone. What they're doing is taking gunpowder, which is compact energy, and on top of that it produces gases to expand even further, a high pressure, and packing it down and lighting and releasing that energy by igniting it with a flame, and that creates an extremely high to low pressure zone ratio, a differential. So the high pressure zone, high pressure area inside will gravitate toward a low pressure zone. To the gunpowder inside, to you outside, you are sitting in a normal place and you see a grenade explode. You see things coming out. But the gunpowder inside feels that it is sitting normally and the air surrounding it is actually trying to suck everything, all of the power out. Either way is correct. Science goes in both perspectives. Science goes in all perspectives. Whether you think that you're sitting on whether you think that you're sitting steady on Earth and your friend is going in a space shuttle and they're moving, or this friend can say, I'm sitting in my space shuttle and the Earth is moving away from me. Either way is correct because both perspectives work out. Space shuttle, Earth, they're getting farther apart. Both things work out. So, the grenade feels that it is being pulled apart, while you see that it is being blown apart. So, depending on what rate this differential is, whether it could be ripped apart or blown apart, it does matter. Because whether it be this or it be this, you can see a huge difference between those two. One was more powerful, one was not. And it was only because of the differential in what is happening inside. So explosions happen because of the fact that there is a lot of differential between tight air, high pressure zone, and low pressure zone. And when these things cancel out, you have a same pressure zone. But when one is greater, it will try to push towards the other. Which is why if you go to space, you will expand. A lot of people say that you will explode. That's not true at all. That is 100% false. Your skin is extremely stretchy, your organs are stretchy, your tissues are stretchy. They will expand and you'll stretch up twice your size, but you'll still stay intact. But what would happen is you couldn't breathe, obviously, because you would have no air. But someone would say, okay, then I'll just hold my breath. If you do that, then your air would be violently sucked out of you and possibly your lungs might come out of your mouth. That's possible because inside your lungs, inside your body, it's such a high pressure zone compared to almost a perfect vacuum in outer space. And that's why explosions happen, because of a low pressure zone and a high pressure zone trying to get into that low pressure zone. Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed that video. Click here to go to my main channel and or subscribe. Click here to go to my previous video. And don't forget to give this video a like and comment down below any questions you have or any suggestions. And don't forget to keep on thinking. I'll see you later.